What's up, everybody? It's Rob from Sage Tower, and we're here with a Skull and Bones video. Patch 1.3 is coming on the 19th. They've released the patch notes a day earlier, so we're going to go through some of these patch notes. Now, we talked a bit about it during the deck live stream that they did last week. So some of the stuff isn't new for us. But we're going to go through and kind of take a look at these and kind of give my thoughts and feedback based on the patch notes for this. So 1.3 season 1, we're going to see the first thing is the extension of season 1 by a week. I don't know why they extended season 1 by a week. At this point, a lot of people have either completed their season pass or close to it. I think even I'm at like probably 70 or 80 out of 90 at this point. So and it's only been 3 or 4 weeks into the season. So what they should do is they should give you something to kind of grind afterwards, like extra packs. But the big thing, and this is the big one, voice and text chat will finally be enabled. Group voice text, group text chat, and world text chat, or something that I've been really wanting to have to help coordinate events, coordinate the La Peste fights, Zombie Haribo fights, fort plunders, everything. This is going to be a big thing. I think also the game is now 3-4 weeks in, or over a month in at least, and you should have probably at this point, a lot of the haters shouldn't probably have stopped playing. They're playing Helldivers, or they're playing Power World or Supermarket Simulator, whatever. And now at this point, I'm hoping that the in-game chat is helpful and it's a good community vibe inside there. So that's a big win, in my opinion. The next one, the open world PvP. I want to scroll down a bit so it's kind of all on the same screen for you guys. This was mentioned during the live stream that they are enabling open world PvP flag. Now, currently, there is no rewards for this. Currently, there's no bonus for it. This is just if you want to, fight people and attack people, this is the way to do it. Now, there are some interesting things to note about this. The flag can be turned on before you leave an outpost or a den. So that means you can't, at least from how it sounds, based on the text, it sounds like you can only turn it on when you are getting ready to sail. You can't turn it on or off while you are out on the sea. A lot of people were worried that maybe you could turn it off, heal, turn it back on. I guess in this case, it's not. Now it doesn't say if you have to turn it off at the dock. I'm assuming it's the same way. So you have to basically, your flag can only be turned on or off on land, which is a big thing. PvP flag on players and their current kill streak can be identified by a red skull next to their profile name. So then you can see who actually is flagged. Hitting a group mate also with PvP on will damage them, so there is friendly fire. PvP flag on players are unable to deal damage to players with PvP off, and vice versa, unless they are both participating in a common event like Cutthroat Cargo, Helm Wager, Hostile Takeover. Now, this is important for one thing as well. I think depending on I don't know how this may work, we'll get to it later on with healing and stuff. While players have PvP flag on, they can see all other players with the PvP flag on as a red arrow on the map. So what this means is you'll see who is flagged. You'll be able to actually specifically call out the ones that you can actually fight with. And ship rank of players is ignored during PvP combat in open world PvP. So as far as I believe, and most people believe, your ship rank doesn't impact PvP combat. It only impacts PvE content. So, and there's some changes for that down the road, down this page as well. So, this gives us something a bit more, and hopefully they improve on this. PvP leaderboards. Maybe kill a leaderboard to show like kill streaks, that kind of stuff. Could be cool. Additional PvP changes. Updated matchmaking criteria to account for the last selected PvP flag on or off preference. So players that are more inclined to PvP will have a higher likelihood of being matched to the same server. Meaning if you have your PvP flag on a lot more often, you're likely to end up being put in servers that have people who also PvP flag on more often, to kind of make it work. Also, if you're someone who doesn't have your PvP flag on, you're not going to be dumped into a PvP heavy server. Updated damage matrices for PvP damage and repair. I believe that's what's coming up. Added UI feedback for when a player target cannot be repaired by another player. So then we have these charts. So the first chart is damage. The player versus the target. So basically, if you are not flagged for PvP, you cannot damage anybody. If your PvP flag is off, and someone else's PvP flag is off, and you both are in a PvP event, right here, then that means that you can attack each other. Same if their flag is on. That you both are in the PvP event together, it works. If your flag is on, you can attack anybody who has their flag on, no matter what they're doing, and you can both attack who's in a PvP event. But you cannot attack anybody who is not in a PvP event, or if you're both are in a PvP event and their flag is off. So that chart is pretty straightforward. The repair one is almost the inverse of this, really. If your flag, also at the bottom, if your flag is on, you can heal anybody. Off, on, doesn't matter. If your flag is on and you are not in a PvP event, you cannot heal somebody who is in a PvP event. That's pretty big. Because and the same thing up here in not in PvP event. With a lot of the issue we had with this was people would bring a friend in a box in like a hostile takeover, and their friend would heal them in the hostile takeover, but the friend themselves wasn't in the takeover event. And because the friend wasn't part of the PvP event, as the opponent, you couldn't shoot the friend healing the guy who actually was in the event. So this, I think, sounds like this stops that from happening. If the repair player has their flag on, then they can heal anybody who is not in a PvP event. And obviously, if your flag is off, you can't heal anybody who has their flag on. So that's a good change for the repair, and it's also a good chart to kind of really sort it out and make it understandable and easy to explain. Alright, updates. Improve the visual clarity of the rocket aiming reticle. Anybody who uses the rocket knows that the rocket aiming is a mess. I haven't seen what this looks like. I'm hoping it is a lot better, and then maybe the termite will actually be more useful in terms of like raiding, plundering kind of stuff, because it could be a lot more useful. And the rockets could be useful even in PvP if you are able to hit somebody with it. Now we get to the big ones. Reduce the duration of the Torn Sails effects from Brigantine's Bullhorn perk from 80 to 40%. This was big. And I talked about this a lot on my stream, that the Brigantine does need a nerf. The fact that it can pretty much reduce the duration of Torn Sails by 80% means it was really impossible to stop the Brigantine from actually being, slowed down. and you couldn't hinder it, and that hindrance really was a big problem in terms of a lot of these speed type of events, Helm Wager, Cutthroat Cargo. So this combined with this one increased the duration of torn sails for players to 10 seconds. So now what this means is, just to show you, previously if this second line wasn't here, the 10 seconds for torn sails would be for the player. If they were in the brigantine, it would only be for 2 seconds. Now it's 6 seconds. So they have an extra 4 seconds that they would have their torn sails effect. And the multiplier for the torn sails has been increased as well. So you can see on that 4 seconds allowed you to get your mortar shot off, maybe. Allowed you to get away if you're trying to run away for like a Helm Wager or a Cutthroat Cargo. Sets them up for you to kind of pivot and maybe hit them with a Dardanelle kind of bombard blast. So that's good. The following gear score changes up there have been made to make it easier. So this was also talked a bit on my stream as well, which I do stream Skull and Bones a number of times on my Twitch stream. You can catch it on Twitch or YouTube, Sage Tower Games. So be sure to check that out for more of the Skull and Bones content. And this was something that I talked about on one of my more recent streams, which was you had to do a specific build if you wanted to hit gear score 12 or ship rank 12. For the Brigantine, it was very easier because they had the 5th furniture slot, which allowed you to really hit that cap, which I guess was 1670, it looks like, for ship rank 12. Now it's down to now it's down to 1630. That alone allows you to hit level 12 with a lot more easier ones kind of build. I was able to get ship rank 12 on the Snow. That one does require you to essentially go full Dardanelle gun build to really maximize your chance. You go full Dardanelles, maybe the Ballista if you want, and then you use the LaFoe mortar. There's a higher gear score than the other one, and that usually gets you up into ship rank 12. But now you don't have to do that. And combined with all the other updates, allows the possibility for more builds to actually happen. Right, next one, base ship ranks for the Padawakang and Snow increased by 10. So now the Snow has more of a higher default score. And then there's a bunch of gear score increases for all the tier 5, tier 3s, the long 9s and the Rama's Legacy increased by 10, the Carronade and the Blue Spectre by 5. The long 9s is a good one because obviously that is a very popular one. Rama's Legacy or the torpedoes, not many people use those because they're kind of hard to hit. Carronade and Blue Spectre, it's nice to see an increase. Maybe that may make them useful, but I don't know. They haven't been that popular. Carronade is sometimes used in some builds I've seen, but they're not as popular as like the long 9s or the Dardanelles. So that's a big increase, and hopefully means a lot more ship rank 12 builds will be seen. Activities and events. So the first change is Cutthroat Cargo. Players can now only opt in to the activity during the pre-activity countdown period, meaning you must join the Cutthroat Cargo before the Cutthroat Cargo has officially begun. You cannot join into it after it has officially started. You cannot fast travel during the active period, meaning once it starts, you cannot fast travel. This was the big issue with Cutthroat Cargo happening currently, was that people would see where the carrier was, they would fast travel to cut him off, and then they would attack him, and that would kind of ruin the heart of what the game was trying to do. The whole point of Cutthroat Cargo was you all show up kind of deal, one of you gets the map, and then it's like a race to get to the outpost as people are trying to chase you with it. And that's what they're kind of doing with this. It also removes the speed debuff for the carrier, which was a big thing they tried a few weeks back. Same with the Helm Wager. They removed the speed debuff for the Helm Wagers, so you don't have to worry about that. Legendary Heist. Legendary Heist increases the chances of Legendary Heist opportunity spawning. That's pretty good. I feel like that they didn't spawn as often as they should. I feel like that they usually spawn maybe until you get like halfway through a region. Then I feel like it was mostly hostile takeovers, really. The manufacturer is rewarded after a successful legendary heist is no longer restricted to the region where the heist takes place. However, only manufacturers will be from unlocked regions will be awarded. That's weird because I'm pretty sure I've had some legendary heists that were in like the Red Isle section that would give me Africa manufacturers. So I guess it means you could do a legendary heist in like the East Indies, maybe, and you could do one in there and it would still give you one in Africa or Red Isle. But if you don't have the East Indies unlocked, you won't get an East Indies legendary heist. You won't get a manufacturer for the East Indies if you haven't unlocked it yet. Kind of what they mean by that. La Peste. Reduce the damage dealt by explosive minion ships of La Peste to himself. So this was the solo strategy. Basically, I was unable to pull it off myself, but what I've gathered was you were able to, if you could time the explosive ships to explode or hit La Peste, they did like a third of his health, or like a quarter of his health. Like it was insane. I don't know how much they're reducing it by, but I think you could do like, if you hit him like 3 times, it would do like a ton of his health. And then they added that recommended ship rank and number of players to the map panels for higher. I don't know what this means really. I mean, like, I guess I know like it says for the past, like recommended players 2+. I'm assuming they're adding that to more activities and events. I don't know why that's under the La Peste section. Bit weird. The Helm. Opportunities will continue to be generated for players that have owned all manufacturers. I'm assuming this means hostile takeovers? I guess? Is that what they mean? Helm opportunities? Maybe? I don't know. Increase. So this is one they talked about. So they... Now this is interesting. They updated duration. I don't know the durations offhand, but the capacities have changed. So 100, 200, 500. So this is big because I believe like around, I want to say capacity 5 is like 150, I think now. I think it's like 150 for 5, 110 for 40. I think it's like 80 for like 3, I think. So they're increasing these a lot to the point where now they won't hit the cap as much. I really think it was, and like really low. Like I think level 2 was 30, I want to say. It was like 30, 80, 110, 150, 300, like 800, and then it was like 25 and 30. Yeah, something like up around there. So this will mean that they'll actually take longer to fill up, so then you won't have to like every time you log on they're already filled, and it's just tedious work. However, there's some stuff that we'll go into that later on. These are just updates for some contract missions, nothing really big there. This is interesting. Adding a new low-level gatherer ship that drops Acacia near St. Anne. I guess because there aren't that many spawn points for it, so Not bad. Change, here we go. Change the default open behavior for silver pouches and chests to open all pouches and chests in the stack. That's a big one. I think I have probably 30 or 40 silver chests waiting just to test this out. So I'm hyped for that one. Updated the Outpost vendor store inventories to be persistent across different servers and different platforms. I believe there was something you could do with the Dutchman camp that allowed you to, like, you could buy or sell something, then you would switch servers and do it again. I'm not sure on the details of that, but if you do know, post it down in the comments below. But I believe that's kind of what they're addressing. Added an option for players to cycle inventory while in NPC shops, in outposts and dens, allowing players to buy and sell items directly from the warehouse. So it sounds like when you go to sell, you'll have your, inventory, and you'll have and then you can just toggle between inventory and warehouse kind of deal, and sell straight. This is going to be great for selling your rum and your opium to Skolak and Rama. You don't have to like go to the warehouse, pull it out into your cargo, and go back and forth. That's good. UI. Activity invitations will no longer be shown when players are already in an existing activity. So if you're already doing something, an activity won't pop up. If you're in the middle of La Pest, you won't see a Helm Wager pop up or a hostile takeover pop up. Delayed activity notifications in several menus. Set sail, interaction with settlements, NPCs, stores. So basically, if you're in one of these screens where there's something on the left side of the screen, the notification won't happen until you actually leave that screen, it sounds like. This is some UI updates. I don't think any of them are too major. Remove the report player button. This kind of UI updates. World, reduce the wind rotation speed and frequency. Wind now rotates by 15 degrees over 10 seconds. That's an interval of 180 seconds. So the wind, I know a lot of people complain about the wind, where the wind would it always seemed to somehow be hitting you in the face. Somehow the wind was cut, no matter which way you turned, and it would rotate just as fast. So that's a wind change. Increase the damage and firing frequency of the DMC4 towers to make them more, I guess, harder, combined with the boost to the Mega Fort Ooston loot, which I think I know why they changed that for a bigger update down on this list. Alright, updates and bug fixes. Fix an issue where La Pest could spawn close to St. Anne. I didn't see that, but I do know La Pest does spawn really close to the Oubliette. I see him one time when he spawned literally right next to where you dock in the Oubliette. So that's a bit scary. Fix an issue where Zam Haribu, it could not be killed. That happened to me a few times where he bugged and he wouldn't die. Or he died but he didn't die. Another issue with Kuharibu. Some audio issues. Fixing the issue where Greek Fire could unintentionally trigger the weak point damage multiple times. I think that should be fair. A lot of combat fixes and bugs. Actually, the one of these should be... Okay, these are all graphics and controls bugs. The ones I wanted to look for were the hell ones. This is a big one. Big. Fix an issue where the upgrade efficient shipping was wrongly applying bonus additively rather than the intended multiplication bonus on each trade route bonus. So basically, a lot of manufacturers, and this is the Harufu kind of issue. Harufu was the manufacturer in Africa that had a ton of trade routes to it. So because of that, it had the highest production rate out of any outpost. I think it's like 522 per hour because of all the bonuses. So with Harrowford being so much, it was one that everybody maxed. It was the first one I maxed out once I figured out the logic for it. So with this change, so it sounds like before a 5% trade route bonus plus the upgrade bonus would be a 55% bonus for it. Now it's going to be a 7.5 bonus instead. That's a massive, drastic change. That's going to be bad. So we're going to see, I'm sure someone's going to do the math to figure out the numbers between now and then what's going to happen. And maybe that's going to change how we do home runs and kind of the perfect way to do it and upgrade it. That change, and then the other chains I want to mention here. This one is the last one. Some of these are other issues that you can they're not thing major to talk about, but this is the big one. Fix an issue where excessive amounts of hell materials were acquired after sinking roving supply ships. This is for anybody who knows, and again, I mentioned this on my stream as well, guys. I mentioned it more for the death mark debuff not really being much of a penalty, but what you would do is you would essentially you could take the supply roving missions, go fast travel to Lascaux, go out, sink the roving supply ship, and you would gain like 600 materials, kind of altogether. When if you actually had just paid them the money for it, I think it would have been like 300. It was like half the amount of materials that you would get if you sank it. If you sank it, you got almost double what the actual contracts were going to give you. So what most people did was they just sank the ship, took the 1 hour debuff of rogue ships spawning on you basically, and you got double the resources. Everybody did that. So this is going to be fixed when now I guess you'll get just the exact amount, which if that's the case, then you don't have, then you may as well just, pay them at that point basically. Oh, another issue, this one was one I saw someone make a video about as well, where you could do a kind of a glitch. I guess it was a glitch where if you put something in the distillery to produce, like if you put a bunch of rum to make in the distillery, and then you essentially alt F4 out of the game quickly, and then you log back in, it would somehow, the timer would reset, and like say you put in and it said it was going to be for like an hour of production time, you come back, now it's at like 40 minutes, and it's produced that 20 minutes worth of product in this one bit. So that was a way to like really speed run through production. Now obviously that was kind of not intended, so that's fixed now. A lot of treasure map fixing here. This is the next big one, and this is a lot of people were complaining. It's a big bug issue. You probably, if you are on Discord communities, you would have seen it. There's an issue where if you took helm items, gin, rum, those kind of things, and if you transferred it to your cargo, that it would just incorrectly transfer, or it would actually get destroyed. You would just lose it all. So I think this is going to fix that. Sounds like. Hopefully they shouldn't get lost on the way there. I think fixing the issue of players were unable to interact with anything after fast traveling. I know I've sometimes been unable to interact with stuff. I don't know if that was the issue for that. Fixing the issue where players could see an active interact prompt, but were unable to interact with it. That's happened to me a few times. So I think I'm looking through seeing if any of these are anything major. Most of these are just general fixes. This, I think, was one I also saw, and I'm not sure if it was a bug or not. Sovereign prices for some vanity items were being incorrectly displayed, meaning if you went to buy them from the black market, and then if you went to the shipwright or the vanity atelier, they actually had a different sovereign price than what the black market one had. So fixing an issue with poor network icon. I've had that for almost the entire month. It's been popping up. So, and then most of these are just kind of old changes they've done in the past. So that is everything in the patch notes. Again, there's a lot of bug fixes and stuff I didn't go over, but I didn't really need to feel. The meat and potatoes is all there, and it's good. Is it perfect? No, obviously now they've fixed a lot of the patches. The quality of life will be a lot better. The next step is, of course, cranking out the content, improving that kind of end game content and the gameplay for that stuff. That's the next big thing for them. So what are your guys' thoughts on the end game patch? Let me know in the comments down below, and hope to see you guys out there on the high seas.